I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but a lot of vintage and fashion jewelry is made up of a combination of materials. Could be plastic, glass, wood, metal, a variety of beads and components. And oftentimes you can't even tell just from looking at it. And I have a challenge for you in this video. I've pulled several pieces of jewelry. Some are partial pieces of jewelry because I've taken something off of it before. And I'm going to take the pieces all apart, put everything into one dish, and then we're going to upcycle it into a necklace, bracelet, and earrings. And the challenge is for you to figure out as you're watching the video which beads are plastic or glass or metal. That's the challenge, because I think you might be surprised when you pull out some of your fashion jewelry or vintage jewelry and find out that it's not necessarily made from the components that you think. If you're new to the channel, I'm Vicki. We're going to have some fun today upcycling some jewelry. So let's get started. This is what I pulled to work with, and I'm just going to take it apart, put it all in one dish, and then we'll get started.
I'm not sure I understand it, but everything seems brighter now than before. I don't know why I feel this way, but every time I hear your name, all my worries disappear, yeah. It's all because of you. I feel the way I do. You make my dreams come true, yeah. It's all because of you, because of you, because of you.
I think we'll use some 18 gauge wire today in silver. It's silver plated over copper. And my 2.25 millimeter looper tool, not sponsored. First thing we need to do is straighten some of the wire. I have a wire straightener. There's different kinds of wire straighteners out there. This is just one that I happen to like. I have more than one kind, but I like this one. Well, I'm not really sure how long I need it to be yet, so let's put a few beads on here and see what we come up with a pattern. That's a fairly long section of necklace. Might be a little bit longer than I want to go. I'm thinking about it here. I don't want the necklace to square off or anything. So maybe I'll back down to a few less beads. You know, first time of everything's an experiment. Not quite liking that. I'm going to instead start with one of these square beads. We've got this for one section. Basically, I think I'll come up with 3 different patterns. Let's just do that. Let's come up with 3 different patterns at least before I start putting everything together. There's one. There's a little larger one. Put a little square bead at the end of that too. So that's 2 patterns. Got the darker blue. Hope I have enough of these beads to do what I'm thinking about doing. Again, maybe put a little square at the end of these. So maybe these 3 patterns we'll work with. How's that? And then we'll connect them together somehow. And thought I'd used everything, but I didn't. So let's trade these out for that blue. Or we could do, instead of 3 different patterns, we could do 5. So I still have some beads here I haven't really used on anything. I haven't used this one. Notice I'm using the soft mat so you can't tell from the sound. At least I'm trying to keep the sound a secret from you. What if we put one of those in the center? But I only have so many of these. I'm not sure how many I will need. You know what? I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make a few sets of each of these, starting with this one, just because it's closest to me. No other reason. And I may introduce some chain to the necklace because the other chain was actually extremely fine. so I might replace that with some new chain. I've got the first set of beads on here, the first pattern. For the first loop, we can just put this through here, and the wire is flat against the back, and I can just make my loop pretty much anywhere I want to make it. Okay, there it is. There's our loop. I'm going to just close it up a little bit, straighten it up a little bit, and then push the beads down. And for this, I found it's best to allow about a ½ inch on there, pushing the beads down, and then putting this through here, making sure I don't get any beads in here. And there's the beads pushed down. I'm just putting my thumbnail on the last bead, but I don't want my thumbnail to be inside there. I'm pushing the bead up to it. I hope I allowed enough, and I did. There's our loop. And then just take 2 pairs of pliers and make them go the same direction and straighten it up just a little bit. They will be a little bit loose on here. That's normal. A little bit looser than if you did it with your round nose pliers. So let's continue. Straighten your wire as you need to. But it's pretty good. Let's do the second pattern. Just thread the beads on here. As you can see, I'm just working with the beads from the original necklaces and components. I'm not adding any special bead caps or anything. Let this fall where they may. Just put this through here. Make sure this is flat and not up here. Make sure it's flat to the back. Straighten it up. Push the beads down. All the beads. Make sure you don't miss any. Just going to cut the wire to about ½ inch. And then put this back in here. Just putting my thumbnail near the last bead, but actually push against the last bead. Let go of it, and we have our loop. Again, take 2 pairs of flat nose pliers. Straighten it out as you need to, and component number 2 is done. Let's get some more wire here and get it straightened out. Little square bead. Oh, I can't tell you. I almost told you what these are. I can't do that. That's not part of this jewelry upcycle this time. I know it looks a little awkward sometimes taking it off of there, but it's really not too bad. Again, just ½ inch, give or take. You don't want to go too short with it. Pushing against my last bead, make sure that's flat. And you could straighten all of these after you're done making all of them. I'm just doing it as I go just to show you. We're almost there. One more. And you know, I have an even number. Normally I would do odd numbers, so who knows, I might come up with one more section of components here. Oh, and where are my square beads for here? I don't have any square beads. I've got round beads in here, but I wanted square. Do you have a one-step looper, and do you get much use out of it? I actually have learned to really like mine. I didn't like it at first, but I really like it now. Okay, remember it's flat. Push the beads down. We can straighten it all up later. Sure, there's a little bit of waste with it, but it is fast. I mean, I'm pretty fast anyway with making loops, but if loops are hard for you, you might really like this. And I'll have a link for that. I'll put a QR code up here for my Amazon affiliate links for Avante jewelry, should you want to check it out. I don't remember how much I paid. I know they're not real cheap, but it depends on what your needs are. And they make 3 sizes, and I bought the middle size, 2.25. Okay, I've got 4 different components here, but I'm thinking I should have 5 different components, not 4. I only have 3 of these, and I'm not crazy about them, so I may not use those. What else could I do? I think I better first make duplicates of these. At least 2 of each, at least. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll play some music while I make another one of these. And then I'll pop in again and then, move on to the next one. It might help you to see it being made more than once. I just have to make sure I pick out the right size beads so that I match this. I think we can do that.
And I don't fall in love so easily, 'cause I don't wear my heart up on my sleeve. Yeah, I don't know if you feel
those beads down there. See, I said I wasn't going to talk, but you know me. I have to talk.
every time I hear your name, my worries disappear. It's all because of you.
The 2 of those. let's continue. I'll make this one next. You do have a little bit of waste. It can vary, but it's not really that much. Two of those. Make another one of these. Let's make another one of these. We have enough to make a necklace. I don't really have a focal point yet. We're getting there. I could connect all of these together without any chain in between. But if we add chain, well, I would have a lot of beads left over to make something else. And then I've got to think, do I want to have some kind of pendant here? Pendant drop. I don't have any large beads here really to make a pendant. Decisions. Or do I just let that be like a bead bar across the front and start building it off of here? We could round this a little bit or keep it squared. I think I want to make 2 more of these. That's what we're going to do. I wanted 2 more of these to possibly put one at the side here. We'll see. I still am thinking about a pendant, but not sure what. Make a second one of these. If you're enjoying this video, I appreciate a thumbs up, a like, and be sure to comment. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe. And keep watching. There's more. I decided to add a pendant, and I want something different. So I'm going to use this and then probably dangle some beads from it. I'm just not sure which beads yet. I'm going to start with connecting these 2 bead bars to the top of this. I mean, you could put it that way too if you wanted to, but I like it this way. And to do that, I just need to get some jump rings, so I'll be right back. I have a few jump rings here, and I've got to keep in mind that I need the jump rings large enough to go through the loop on the bead bar and the loop on the little pendant component. Also, just make sure that your little bead bars are closed up. All right, taking a jump ring, 2 flat nose pliers, just putting it through the bottom of this bead bar and then connecting it. There is a front and back to this little pendant component. Take your 2 pairs of flat nose pliers, get a good grip, and then just wiggle that back and forth until it closes up, and then give it a pinch. So we've got 1 on. Probably gonna have to get more jump rings. Open up your next jump ring and then attaching the other one. And we'll add some dangles to that before we're done. We have a couple of choices. We could put chain in between all the other bead bars and make it a nice long necklace, or we could keep connecting these just like they are. Decisions. What should we do next? How should we connect these components? Any ideas? I went and got some smaller jump rings. And I think I'm just going to proceed with attaching these. It's just a matter of the pattern. I separated them for now so I could take a fresh look at it. I know I want the same one up a little further on the necklace. Maybe I'll do this. I think that's going to be it. All right, let's get these attached. Going to attach everything with jump rings rather than just attaching the loop to a loop. I want to separate everything with a jump ring. I think it will hang better. I'm taking a look at each of my loops as I'm doing this on my bead bars, as I'm calling them, just to make sure they're closed. Luckily, there's no top or bottom to these because I basically built the pattern from the center out. So they're identical on each end. I'm getting off camera at all, I apologize. Just kind of having fun with this. such a quick and easy way to make a necklace, especially with the looper tool. One step looper, I believe it's called. Again, not sponsored. I bought that months ago. I've used it in a few videos. I never know who buys what, but I noticed that some of you have purchased it, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Oh, and remember again, you can always use chain, but this is coming along pretty good, and I still have some beads left, so I think I'm going to be able to do a bracelet. Because it's going to be a pendant necklace, so we're going to add some beads to the bottom. I probably won't go any longer than about 18 inches or so on the length. So I'm going to stop here and measure it, see what we've got here. But here's our necklace so far. Let's double check the pattern. Good time to do it, right? After I've got it attached, but just double checking. I'm pretty certain it's all good. And let's check that length. And you check the length by going at the bottom, but inside part of the bottom. Oh, look at that. I am right at 18. It is time to attach the clasp. I don't want to go any longer. I will find a lobster clasp here and a jump ring, so I'll be right back. I've got a small lobster clasp, and I am going to attach it with a small jump ring so that it has some flexibility. And I did check it to make sure it would work. What do I mean by that? I mean, always check and make sure the lobster clasp is working properly before you finish out your necklace, especially if you're wiring it in, because you know you want that to work. Now I'm putting a slightly larger jump ring on here than what I've been using so far, just to make it easier. But let's make sure it goes through there. Yeah, it goes through there just fine. The necklace is done, but how about if we make some dangles for the figure 8 pendant? I'm going to add at least 3 dangles, and I'm just going to use some 2-inch head pins. I'm going to use that small bead that I hadn't used yet, and then I'm just going to pick out, I'll do a center one first, and then build off of that. Let's just pick out a, not sure, I'm just playing right now. Not sure the look I'm going for yet. Just trying to make it tiered a little bit. Maybe I'll put that square bead at the top. There's no right or wrong. It's a matter of what you like. Could do that. Not sure, though, if I like that rondelle at the bottom there, so maybe I'll take that off. Have you been thinking about what the beads are made from? Oh, I like that. What do you think? Let's do that. Okay, now I could use my one-step looper for this. I could. I'm so used to doing it manually, but now it did go a little short on that one. Not sure what I did wrong. Maybe it's because it's, oh, I know why. It's a different weight of wire. I was using 18 gauge, and these are not 18 gauge. I don't know what gauge they are, but so I have to adjust that one a little bit. Now, I am not going to be able to go directly to here. I'm going to have a jump ring large enough to attach that. I pulled out 3 sizes. I'm just getting it over here. Oh, and I have 3 here. That's good. Just go ahead and attach our first dangle. You know me, I want my loop to stand up a little bit. So we have 1 dangle down. Make a dangle number 2. Put a little round bead at the bottom since we hadn't used these at all. And I probably don't want to get too big on these. And I could make these 2 exactly alike because I could put one on each side of here, just like that. I mean, there's so many variations we could do. Am I going to have enough left to make a bracelet? That remains to be seen. Just playing here. I mean, it's not wowing me. I think I just want more bling. That's what it is. I want more bling. Yeah, like that. What if we put a small round bead at the top instead of a square bead? All right, I'm going with that. This time, I'm just going to do this the old-fashioned way. Bend it at a right angle and cut it down to about 3/8 of an inch. because you may not have a one-step looper. Wire the head pin is flush. Just make my loop, close it up, straighten it up. And when you have enough practice, it is very easy to make a loop. But if you have arthritis in your hands, or your hands get tired from making jewelry, well, then the one-step looper could be very helpful. I don't think I ever told you, but there was a time when we first moved here to Tennessee, when we were remodeling the house, that I had done so much work during the remodel with my hands, like removing wallpaper and putting screws in the floor and all kinds of stuff, that I damaged the tendons in my hands and they wouldn't function properly. It took about a year to recover. I got out of doing some home improvement. I did, but that wasn't my goal, but that's what happened. I couldn't use my hands, and so I started painting on canvas to try to rehab it, a different way of using my hands. That was part of my personal rehab. I like to think I can paint, but the truth is I'm really not that good at it. I'm a wannabe. Maybe if I practiced and tried more. Can you see that I am talking and working at the same time? I'm going to put the same thing on the other side. Yeah, we're just doing it. And again, just to show you, push the beads down, right angle. My round nose pliers have the cutter built right in, so 3/8 of an inch. Wires flush, roll it back, close it up. You could wire wrap these if you want to, but there's no need to. If you've got good head pins, and I know you're probably wondering, who do I recommend for head pins? Well, I've had my stash for a long time, and I have yet to find a company that I'm like, that's the head pin that I want to recommend. Maybe one of these days. Okay, just wiggle that closed. Looky here what we've got. Let's take a look at what we have here with our little bead bar necklace, or whatever you'd like to call it, our connected beads. We've got our charm dangles, and our necklace is done. Woohoo! We got done with that. This is what I have left, with a head pin in here too. And you know what? I need to take a break because this is real life and I need to go make dinner. So I'll probably be back tomorrow to make a bracelet, because I think we have enough beads left to make a bracelet and a pair of earrings. I need to take a break from this project. For me, it's going to be a day, but for you, well, it's going to be just seconds. So keep watching. I am back and I've had time to try this on and see what it looks like. And there's a couple of things that I'd like to change about it. And the nice thing about connecting these and these little bead bars is I can easily change the order of them. For instance, I tried this on. Of course, I like this a lot. This is fine. But I'm going to move this section here and this section here so that this pattern alternates. So that's what we need to do. I'm going to use my flat nose pliers, and we can just do this very easily by just disconnecting the jump ring, the very same jump ring that we use to connect these. Well, we're going to disconnect them and just simply move them. So I've got 4 different bead bars, as I've been referring to them, 4 different bead bars to move. I'm just trying to find the cut and the jump ring. Did I close it up so good that I can't find it? There it is. Let's go ahead and do one side at a time. So I'm moving this up. So just taking a jump ring again, and these are reversible. Doesn't matter which side is the top or bottom. Just moving it up. And then connecting this one down here. And the reason I'm doing that, you really don't see this pretty one back here because it's starting up around the neck. And I do want to see it. So that's why I'm moving it. What goes around the neck doesn't really matter too much unless you have really short hair. And then it does, or if you're wearing your long hair in a ponytail or something, or wearing it up. Then it might matter just a little more what it looks like around the neck. And I'm not even saying I'm keeping this one. I'm actually not. I'm probably going to sell this. But still, I decided to change this out so this pattern would be repeated right here. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I just thought I didn't have to disconnect all of these. I could just have reversed the whole thing. Silly me. Silly, silly me. You probably saw that already. that all I had to do was turn it upside down. That's all. Take the 2 sections and turn it upside down. That's too funny that I didn't see that initially. Well, that's why it's called designing, right? We're designing as we go. Subject to change. Okay, let's take a look at it. Okay, I like that a lot better. A lot better. We'll be able to see these sections here and here. I almost said what it is, but we'll see these sections here and here. I also decided that I want to change something down here on the little dangles. I pulled out a couple of charms. I have a heart charm and a little key charm. Hearts and keys must be on my mind because Valentine's is coming up, even though the necklace isn't traditional, you know, not pink or red, but that's okay. Got another little jump ring, same size I've been using on here. Oh, I don't know though. That's not true. I need larger ones for here. All right, I do have some right behind the camera. And I do see that I need to close up my jump rings a little bit better here. Just a little better. But I'm going to use the larger jump ring. And the reason I have to use the larger jump ring, which I guess I didn't tell you what size this is, but I'm using a larger, will it go through here? Yes, it did, good. And this is a 2-sided heart, but I'm going to put this right here. And we could put the charms in between the bead dangles. And they just keep moving around all over the place. But you know what? I just realized that I need a jump ring in between these two. Whatever size jump ring you decide to use, just make sure it goes through the charm that you're using and that it will also fit around whatever component you're attaching it to. And close that up. It's just going to move all over the place right now while I'm working with it. That fit through the key? Yes, it does. Okay, let me just check and make sure all my jump rings are closed. Nice and neat. They look pretty good. I would say that our necklace is done now. We've got 3 dangles and a couple of charms. We've got the necklace made, but let's make a bracelet. The decision is how to make the bracelet. Do we want to make bead bars and connect them or use bead stringing wire? And now it's time to see if we can make a bracelet with what's left. As well as at the end of the video, I'll show you what material each bead is made from. So we'll talk about that. Okay, let's set the necklace aside and get started on a bracelet. Can we use the same idea of connecting the beads, making little bead bars? I think we probably can. Not sure how many, because if you get too long on them, it's not going to drape very well around the wrist, if you know what I mean. So they almost need to be small sections. This is what we have left to work with besides our wire. Same idea, we need to straighten some wire. And if I didn't mention it earlier in the video, I'll have a link for this wire straightening tool in my Amazon affiliate store for Avante jewelry. And I'll put the QR code on the screen here in case you missed it earlier in the video. And I'll also have it at the end, the QR code at the end of the video. So you can always pause there and scan it with your phone if you're watching on TV. These sections here are quite long. So I am a little concerned about those, curving around the wrist. We might be able to do one on the top. Let me show you what I mean. We could possibly do one on the top. You see how straight that bar is? Very straight. It's not going to have a lot of curvature to it. So maybe we'll do the bracelet just slightly different. I could string it on wire. We could. I don't have to use this again. I've already demonstrated using the wire for the necklace. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and just use some bead stringing wire, some 49 strand 0.018 bead stringing wire. And I think I have a random piece lying here on my desk somewhere that I could use. And I do. I have a random piece. So let's go ahead and start stringing on here. I know that I like this as a focal point. And let's just build this out on each side, hoping that I have enough beads to coordinate with the necklace. I'm starting with kind of this pattern right here, making sure that I get the same size of beads. This will drape a lot better. And then I could still use I could use the little squares in between to mimic the pattern. So this is what we have so far. Obviously, this is going to drape a lot better than the bead bar. So the bead bar works great for the necklace, but maybe not so much for a bracelet. What else can we put in here? I see that I have this section here. Try to pick up the same beads, just adding one to each side. Okay, let's take a look at what we have. Picking this pattern up here. And I did have the little square beads before and after, so as long as I have them here, I'm going to use them. If I can find the hole. I move this over just a little bit. Yep, slide those down here. Of course, I repeated that same pattern here, and then I have some of the blue. Do I want to repeat this bead here on the sides of the bracelet? I don't think so in this case. I think I'm going to instead just pick up this pattern. And that would be this bead. And then the darker blue. And then the lighter blue. And then another square bead. I'll show you in just a second here. Okay, that's picking up everything we have in the bracelet. Linear, it's about 5.5. I don't think that's quite long enough. So what can we do here? We can either repeat the pattern. I decided I'm not picking up another one of these beads. I'm letting that just stay the focal point. So maybe I will just repeat this pattern. We could even drop down to just smaller beads all the way around the wrist. Let's add that little square bead. This is what we have. Oh, wow, we are almost at 7.5. And by the time we add the clasp and extension chain, I think I pretty much should stop here. I think so. Let's put it on my bracelet board and see. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we can stop there. This is 7.5. This particular bamboo board goes from 6, 6.5, 6 3/4, 7, 7.5, 8, and then it has linear. Let's get a clip on here before I lose any beads, and I need to grab probably a lobster clasp because I want to put an extension chain on here. I have my lobster clasp and a little jump ring, but then I thought, well, I could upcycle one of these clamshells that would hide the crimp bead that I'm thinking about using. So I'm taking the little clamshell from one of the original necklaces or, sections of beads that I had. I've got some tiny little crimp beads in here. Itty bitty crimp beads. Typically they're 1.3 millimeter. Take my clip off of it. Go through the back of the clamshell. There's a little hole in the back. Go through that. Pick up a crimp bead. And the first one I always say is so easy because I can take that bead all the way to the end of the wire using my pliers, just kind of center it up and smash it. I didn't get it very centered, but the important thing is that it doesn't come off. And then slide it down inside the clamshell and just close it up. Should be able to close it okay with your fingers. If you have any trouble, just close it up. Align it a little bit if you need to. And we will need to get a jump ring through those holes. So I might have to use a different jump ring than what I've been working with for the charms. But let's just push the beads down. Do the same thing here. Go through the back side of the clamshell. Pick up the crimp bead. Now this is where it gets a little tricky because as we slide this down to the beads, and you do want some flexibility in there, you might have to open up your clamshell a little wider. Can you see the little crimp bead in there? It's in there. And then I like to use my chain nose pliers because they are pointier at the end. And I just get inside there, get a hold of that crimp bead and push it down a little bit and smash it, pushing it down. Okay, now let's test it. It's not going anywhere, but we can't leave it like that now, can we? We need to cut that off. And you can use scissors, you can use whatever you want. I have these clippers designated just for jewelry. Okay, now we can close that up. Make sure we get that aligned. I don't know if the jump rings that I have here, the closed jump ring, because that's meant to be wired in. I don't know if the jump rings that I don't know if these jump rings that I have on my desk are going to work, but I'm going to try to see if we can get that to go through both holes of the clamshell. Kind of through one, but it opened up a little bit on me. They're not as perfectly aligned as they would be had it been new. So I'm going to try to get these to align a little bit. If these jump rings don't work, I have thinner jump rings. I need some other jump rings, so I'll be right back. I want to show you what I came up with to get these better aligned. This is a bead reamer tool, and I just put it through here and just pushed on this to realign those holes. So it's not that my jump ring is too big. The holes just weren't lining up enough. So can I get this through now? Maybe I spoke too soon. Let's try this again. Ah, got it. Okay, so let's go ahead and attach the lobster clasp, but let's make sure it's working properly. Looks okay. And that's the other thing. The jump ring has to go through the hole on the lobster clasp. So we got that. Now let's do the same thing here. I'll show you what I did. I've got the bead reamer and I'm putting it through here and I kind of just pulled up to realign this. It kind of got out of alignment. Let's see if I did it or not. Let's see if we can get this through here. I'd have to work with it. Yay, got it through. That's what I was going for, what I was hoping for. And this is just a slightly larger jump ring. To make sure it's closed well, just, if you need to, just wiggle it back and forth till it aligns and close it up. So a smaller jump ring here to attach the lobster clasp and larger jump ring here to attach to, and we can add an extension chain. Let's find out the size of the bracelet that we've made by using a bracelet cone, and then we'll probably add some extension chain and make a pair of earrings. Let's see what it is on the bracelet cone. I like to turn it around to the back. 7.5, that's what I was going for, but I want some extension chain. I keep a variety of chain around, and this is just a little oval link chain, and I like it for an extension chain. I like the way it lays, and so I'm just going to take and open up the last jump ring, the oval jump ring, attach it here, close it up. If it's 7.5, 8.5, 9, I'm going to allow about 1.5 inches after the jump ring itself. And we might even add something else here. So let's just take the excess off. And if someone buys this set, especially if it's one of you, well, you can always remove the extension chain if you don't need it. I think this bracelet needs something else, don't you? Like maybe a little heart? I don't know if I was recording or not, but I decided to add a heart charm at the end. And that'll coordinate with the necklace. And as you can see here, using the wire, the bead string wire gives a softer lay than what it would have been had we used the bead bar. We still have some beads left. What did I say about making some earrings? Well, we do have some beads left, so it only makes sense to make some earrings. I think I'm going to try to work in what's been our focal point in the necklace and the bracelet. I don't have any of these beads left. But what could we use here? If we take a look at the dangles, what can we pick up from here? I'll just lay everything out that I think we can possibly use in various sizes, including a couple of those little square beads, maybe 4 of those. I think that might be about it as far as what I want to work with, something out of these beads here. For the earrings, instead of using regular 2-inch head pins, I'm going to use 2-inch eye pins. It has a little eye on the bottom. So what can we do to start this? That one we started the large at the bottom. I'm just going to play around. Okay, that doesn't show up too well there. Just going to play around with a couple of options. We can make the earrings as long or as short as we like them. I think I'm going to put this down here. It's not too bad. I kind of like that. Do you like it this way or this way? Or do we even need that light bead at the bottom? Does it even do anything for it? Let's shorten these up a little bit. I like that too. I do have a small round bead at the bottom here, but I'm not so sure I need it here. Well, that's one idea. What else can we do? I do have some of the round beads. In fact, I could have put a small round bead in between each of these, but then I wouldn't have had so many different beads on there because every little bead takes up a little bit of room. What happens if I do this? And I kind of build it like that, only using a smaller one of those. The square at the top. Getting longer. I like this bead better than that one. And I don't think I need the round bead at the bottom. But I can go with this one here. Still trying very hard not to say what the beads are made of. Keep in mind, I'm going to ask you to vote at the end of the video for your favorite piece that we made today, whether it's a necklace, bracelet, or earrings. And how do you vote? Well, you just leave a comment voting for your favorite or favorites. I think we go with that. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to be able to use every single bead that is in the necklace or the bracelet because the earrings would just be crazy, crazy long. So let's go with this. Round nose pliers, push the beads down, bend it at a right angle, trim it to about 3/8 of an inch. The wires flush with the round nose pliers. Pull towards yourself as you roll back. That might sound counterintuitive, but it gets the loop rolling. So push the beads down. Try to put it in the same spot you had it in before. You can always mark your round nose pliers with a permanent marker, but it will wear off eventually. And also eventually you'll just kind of get used to where to cut it and roll it. Need some ear wires. You can use any kind you like. You can use the hook. You can use post, just whatever you would like. Using my chain nose pliers to open this sideways. Attach the earring, close it up. Same thing here. Open it sideways, attach the earring, close it up. And that little bead and spring go down over top of it. Now, we have a loop at the bottom. Why did I save that loop at the bottom? Did you see these over here? Did you? Maybe you did. Maybe you saw those. Let's see. Do I have 2 jump rings the same size here that I can use? Some of these are different thicknesses, so maybe we can attach one of these little charms. Got some random jump rings here on my table, but I think those 2 are the same. Let's see if this will go through the heart charm. Kind of wondering now, should I have done traditional colors with the hearts? Well, if you love hearts, it doesn't matter what color. It doesn't have to be pink. It doesn't have to be red. If you love hearts, you love hearts, right? You could put a butterfly charm or a dragonfly charm or a frog, whatever kind of charm you have. I've got lots of charms, but this is what I chose today. Are you ready to take an up-close look at what we made today? And remember to vote at the end, and be sure to watch all the way to the end, because as I said in my opening, this video has been about seeing if you could identify just by looking at the components, whether they are plastic, glass, metal, or maybe even wood. You know, this video was all about mixing materials. Are you ready to find out what materials we worked with to make this set? I think you're going to be surprised on some of them. I was in a store not too long ago, and a lady was so excited to buy a turquoise necklace. She commented to me that she had donated all of her jewelry, and she wished she had kept a turquoise one. What did she have in her hand? Was it actually turquoise? No. Was it actually stone? No. It was plastic turquoise beads. How did I know that? Well, because I had looked at the necklace earlier in the store. Are you ready to see what we used to make this bracelet, necklace, and earring set? Well, here it is. Let's start with the plastic. We'll see how well you guessed. All of these beads here are plastic. The aqua faceted, the blue faceted, the little round beads, those are all plastic. Every single one of these. Did you guess that? You'll have to leave a comment and let everyone know. So there's the plastic beads. How about the glass? Well, here's our glass beads. And you probably guessed this one because of the reflection on it. I bet most of you guessed the glass all the way around. But did you guess this one? Did you guess this bead right here? Right here and in the bracelet. Did you guess this little round bead? I've only got two of them left. They have kind of a white center, but these are also glass. And of course, the little rondelles. The smallest rondelles are 6 millimeter, and the largest one that we use today is 12 millimeter. The beautiful focal point one is 12. So we used a variety, and this round bead, the blue one, that I think was a little harder to guess what it was made from, it is 8 millimeter. So just to give you an idea of size. And then, of course, we had our metal beads. Every single one of these little spacer beads, from the square ones to the little round ones, are all metal. So no plastic in here. Oh, and I forgot to point out to you that this little bead right here, which I ran out of, this one, this silver one here, is plastic. There's our components that we use to make the necklace, bracelet, and earrings. And you can kind of tell what's, by what's cool to the touch. You can also tell by the sound. And metal, well, it has a little bit of coolness to the touch. Can't tell so much for sound when these are so little. And there was one other material that we didn't use, wood. I just didn't like the color. We've covered plastic, glass, wood, and metal. Who knew that we could make such a pretty necklace, bracelet, and earrings from mixing materials? Mixing materials on vintage and fashion jewelry is done all the time. Take a look at your own jewelry stash and see if you can determine what it's made of even before you take it apart. See what you find out. I think you'll be surprised. You'll find this 3-piece set in our eBay store, Avante Avenue. The QR code on the screen takes you directly to the link for Avante Jewelry. So if you have any interest, check that out. And if you're looking for tools and supplies, well, check this QR code out for my Amazon affiliate store for Avante Jewelry. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Vicki, and I'll see you in the next video.